Hey, it's Ben here from the Strength Factory. Today I'm going to talk to you about how you can get sharp and get fast, ready for racing this summer. We're going to do that by mixing skills and physical training out on the trails. Normally when people are thinking about preparing to go racing, they think about the physical side primarily, i.e. strength, intervals, things like that, and then the riding side, i.e. the skills. But rarely do I see people mix the two together as part of their race preparation program. What we need to do is to put them together on the mountain bike, out on the trails, so that your training is realistic, it's specific, and it's going to genuinely prepare you to go racing this summer. What I'm going to do now is take you through a few race training sessions that are going to vaguely simulate some of the stresses that you're going to experience when you go racing, but also if you just go to the Alps or somewhere, or if you go to somewhere with bigger, gnarlier, longer trails than you're used to, these things still carry across to that as well. The takeaway, the bottom line here, is that we're going to combine skills on the bike with some level of fatigue, physical effort, intervals, sprints, and all that good stuff. Right, we're going to hit the trails now, and I'm going to show you what I mean. The first session I'm going to show you then is called Fatigued Technical Skills. And this is one that I've been using for years with everyone from top pro racers down to all the guys on my online programs. Now, what we take here is a relatively short trail, because this is what I've got here, about 30 seconds up my local woods, but we're going to add some fatigue by doing a minging effort up the hill here, up the single track, turn in. And what that's going to mean is that I'm riding this track with elevated heart rate under some stress. And what it's going to simulate is, number one, the increased intensity of racing. And number two is it's almost like it's a bit of a longer trail. Because if I'm trying to prepare to go to the mountains or a bike park or to go racing, and I've only got really short tracks by my local, then if we can make them more intense, we can get a little bit more out of it, so we're then prepared to go and ride technical stuff under fatigue and for longer durations when we go away racing and riding. There are plenty of different ways to go about doing this. I suggest that you start off with a shorter effort to only moderately raise your heart rate, and then as you get used to doing it, as you get better at doing it, you can do a longer effort. You could do, for instance, 1 or 2 minutes, like really, and push that heart rate right up there to VO2 max, or you could use it more of a sprint session, do 10-15 seconds at really maximal sprint on the way into trail. It's up to you. What I will say is that riding with a really elevated heart rate and under stress is going to increase your risk of crashing, okay? You need to be switched on, you need to build it up gradually, you need to take responsibility for yourself when you do this. So, with the disclaimer out of the way, let's get some suffering and then let's get some fun. So I'm doing about a 1 minute effort. I'm working about 7 or 8 out of 10. Time to drop in. The second race training session I'm going to take you through now is called simply Sprint and Turn. The first part, sprint, is the physical side to it, and it's a sprint repeat training session. And sprint repeat, as you probably know, is a key element of race fitness. The second part, to go with the physical, is the skill, and that is hitting some flat turns around these cones that I've laid out here. Now, it's quite wet and slidey today, but hopefully you're going to see me put down some beautifully carved turns through the cones whilst I'm tired, whilst I'm breathing hard, whilst I'm fatigued from the sprints. Put the two together and we've got quite a realistic race-like situation, which is why we're doing it. I'm going to show you a few reps now. The way I'm going to do it today is simply a 10-second sprint, then I'm going to go through the turns, through the cones. I'm then going to take around 30 to 40 seconds recovery, spinning back to start with my saddle up, before resetting and going again. I'm going to do that for 4 reps to start with and just see how we get on. I just showed you sprint and turn through the cones. And like I said, exactly how you do it is unimportant. I just want to give you some more ideas along the same lines. So what I'm going to do here is the same session basically, but it's sprint and jump, okay? I'm going to do sprint endurance this time. It's going to be a longer effort into it. I'm going to be blowing, I'm going to do a bunny hop, and I'm going to land that and then carry on up the hill here. It's the same goal, the same approach, taking skills, taking fitness, putting them together to help you be that little bit sharper when you go racing. Right, let's see if I can clear it. The third race preparation session I'm going to take you through now is simply race simulation. Now, it's a bit different to the other two because it's less about the physical and more actually about the mental and emotional, and then blending that with applying your skills to ride well and to ride fast. And there's loads of ways we can go about doing it. So to start with, define start and finish lines on a track that you're going to do race simulation on. Where am I starting? Where am I finishing? And between those 2 points, within reason, without killing any walkers or yourself, you're racing. Ideally, you want to ride it on your own as well, not in a train, okay? 20 or 30-second gaps, you know, between you and your friends that you're riding with. Similarly, it's even better if you can do it somewhere you haven't ridden before, because if you're racing enduro or downhill as well, then being able to practice effectively, gather the information, and then go hard and fast, that is a really good skill to have, because quality practice makes a massive difference to race performance in both downhill and enduro. There's other things that we can do as well. Now, literally 2 weeks ago, I took some of my quickest EWS and World Cup racers to Bike Park, Wales in South Wales. And this is what I did at the start of the first simulated race stage of the day. Yes! Oh, with COVID, it's been too long since I've heard those beeps. But you know what, even for those top guys, they only did a couple of races last year, and now the season's starting late, and they all said that just that simple noise I found on YouTube, it kind of stimulated them, it got them aroused and a little bit stressed. And that's exactly what we want, because that's the state you're in when you go racing. If the first time you hear the beeps is at your first national of the year, then you know what, it's going to have a bigger effect on you than if you've been racing all season, or maybe if you desensitize yourself by doing something as simple as that in the woods with your friends. We can also put stress on the situation by using things like timing. The simplest way to do timing is the lap button on your bike computer or watch. Okay, just get it on your bar, you press the lap button, and then count 3, 2, 1, and then you go. And then when you get over your finish line, again, you stop, and then you press it, and that way it's always about the same. The longer the track, the more effective that is because of the room for error. If you really want to get into the weeds of this, then you can look at things like the time of day, what you're eating and drinking and things like that. You know, if you're going to be racing at 8 in the morning, but you do all your riding in the evenings, then it's probably worth getting a couple of morning rides in and doing some race simulation so you can perform mentally and physically at that time of day. The best way to do this for safety, for fun, and to get the most out of it is to do it with some friends. Then you can all help each other, you can play the beeps, you can take it in turns to like set up and do a race or something like that. Just remember though that, yeah, just be careful, don't nail yourself, and if you do, it's not my fault. These training sessions and ones just like them are all included in the complete mountain bike program. Just as the name suggests, it gives you everything that you need to ride and race harder, faster, further, and just have more fun on your bike. There's loads of programs out there that give you a set, some reps in the gym and stuff like that, and that's cool. You know, that's what I do as well. But how many of them give you this next level of training? How many of them can give you this race-specific work that's really going to transfer the hard work and all the sweat into results and into riding faster and further and having more fun? That's it then, 3 simple sessions. Remember, the takeaway here is that we're taking some sort of skill on the bike and we're making it harder by being under physical or mental stress. Remember, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment, leave me a question, and if you're going to go and do some of this training on your own, make sure you give me a tag on Instagram. I'd love to see how you're getting on.